Eastern Time. Good afternoon. I'm Peter Van Onselen and I'm joined here by Kieran Gilbert. Good to see you.
Afternoon, Pete. Yeah, good to be here.
Sticking to your prediction, you were saying you're very bullish, 85 plus when we last spoke.
Yeah, no, I'd say it's, if I had to firm it up, I'd say 86 to the coalition tonight is my best guess. I mean, it is a guess. We don't know how the numbers are going to start coming in. But just talking to people on both sides, there's an air of confidence, and even from those that have been, you know, the pessimistic members of the government are saying that they might lose up to 8. I think it's going to be less than that. I think 86, I'd say 59 to Labor and 5 on the crossbench.
OK, well, I tell you what, I reckon the government will be happy with that, and one person that'll be especially happy with it is our next guest. We're joined by the campaign spokesperson for the government, Mathias Cormann, live from Sydney, where, of course, Malcolm Turnbull will be attending their event later this evening. Thanks very much for your company, Senator.
Good to be here.
What's your view on this prognosis from Kieran Gilbert? 86 seats, you guys would be happy with that, wouldn't you?
Look, we're not taking anything for granted. The booths here in New South Wales are open for another 2 hours. In the great state of Western Australia, another 4 hours. And we'll be spending every single minute between now and 6 p.m. To talk to as many people as possible about our plan for the economy, our plan for jobs and growth, and the risks of voting for the alternative, which would deliver bigger deficits, higher taxes, weaker growth and weaker borders.
I know you're going to keep making those messages understandably right through till all the booths close, including in your home state of WA. But if you can give us any cephology, Senator, it's got to be your home state of WA. How confident are you of being able to retain so many seats, let's face it, that you hold in the state? I mean, literally, you hold 12 of 15 seats. There's one extra seat. It's notionally yours as well. But Labor are confident about Burt.
Well, the Labor Party nationally has got a very bad track record in Western Australia because they've taken a very anti-WA view for many, many years. I mean, it's the Labor Party nationally that gave us the anti-WA mining tax, which was bad for investment, bad for jobs, bad for growth. It's of course the Labor Party nationally that gave us porous borders, weak border protection policies, which resulted in illegal boat arrivals as far south as Geraldton in Western Australia. So in Western Australia, the Labor Party has got a very, very bad track record. All incumbents in Western Australia for the Labor Party are not recontesting this election. They've all voted with their feet, and the response that we've been getting at all of the booths across Western Australia to our plan for the economy, our plan for jobs and growth, our plan to encourage businesses to be the most successful they can be has been very positive.
And Minister, I know that you question the merits of the campaign, the Medicare scare, but if you look at the bunting around polling booths around the country, it's obviously bitten in this campaign, and in a pure political sense, do you concede that that's been effective?
Well, Bill Shorten had nothing to say about the economy. He had no plan for the economy. He had no plan for jobs and growth. So all that he was left to do was to run a desperate and dishonest scare campaign. When he was confronted about it directly in interviews, like, you know, whether it was on the 7:30 report or elsewhere, he was running scared of his own scare campaign. He was not prepared to look into the camera, to look the Australian people in the eye and repeat the lies that he is having his campaign workers and unions around Australia perpetuate, you know, phoning people late at night, trying to scare them with what he knows to be dishonest lies. But, you know, and that's, you know, in the end, you know, that's a matter for Bill Shorten. The coalition has run, we've run our positive campaign, we've run our campaign promoting our plan for the economy, our plan for jobs and growth, our plan to continue to secure the successful transition in our economy, and also our plan where we have guaranteed within our budget funding increases for health, education, roads that are affordable and sustainable.
What do you say to the criticism that's been levelled at the campaign by the government that it's been one-dimensional, that you've had the jobs and growth and that's it?
Well, you know, this is, I mean, the most important issue in any election is the future of the economy. I mean, it's the future economic prosperity for Australia. It's the opportunity for people across Australia to be successful and get ahead. And I mean, you know, that is the most important dimension in any election. And you know, obviously, you know, that is why we have focused on it, particularly at this point in time, when we are in an uncertain world. We are facing a series of global economic headwinds. We are working our way through the implications for Australia of lower global economic growth. We are dealing with the consequences of significantly lower global prices for our key commodity exports. So there is a job to be done to ensure that our economy remains strong and become stronger again in the future, that we have the opportunity for people around Australia to be successful. That is why we focused on it, and people across Australia have been looking for the team with a plan for the economy, and clearly that is the coalition.
Senator, your primary plan, of course, is this company tax cut, and the Senate looks like it's unlikely to support it if Labor continues to block it, given the makeup of the crossbenchers. What's the plan B to try to get it through?
Well, unlike you, Peter, I'm not assuming a result. Obviously, it's up to the Australian people to determine what the result in the House of Representatives and in the Senate will be. We are working to maximise our vote, both in the House of Representatives and in the Senate.
Let me jump in. Isn't it more important that you spend your time thinking about this than I do? Because you guys are the ones charged with running the economy that you say is so important. If you haven't thought about it, that's a worry, surely, because this is going to have to be front in mind, whether you like it or not. The Senate is going to be a complex Senate with such a low quota at a full dissolution.
Well, we are treating the Australian people with the respect they deserve, and that is we respect them to make the decision as they see fit. Today is the day when the Australian people pass their judgment, and after 6 o'clock tonight, when the results start coming in, that is when whoever is elected to government, and hopefully that'll be us, but whoever is elected to government has to make judgments on how to implement the policy agenda. If we are successful today, we will start working on implementing our plan for jobs and growth from tomorrow morning. Now, yes, a more competitive company tax rate is a central part of our national economic plan for jobs and growth, but also export trade deals, investment in attracting additional investment into startups through our innovation agenda, our defence industry plan, seeking to support local high-end manufacturing and shipbuilding. These are all parts. This is a comprehensive national economic plan of which a lower company tax rate is an important part, but it is only one part.
And do you feel a win tonight will not only provide Malcolm Turnbull a mandate for his legislative plans, but a mandate within your own party, that those who, like you, supported Tony Abbott, but unlike you, have not fallen in behind the Turnbull leadership, that they will after a win tonight, emphatic or otherwise?
The Turnbull government is a strong and united team. We are going to this election with a clear, comprehensive national economic plan. We go to this election with a series of commitments that are all fully costed, fully funded, and of course we go to this election with a commitment to maintaining the strong border protection policies that a Labor-led Labor Green Independent Alliance would start to weaken again. If we are successful today, if the Australian people give us their trust to be the government for another 3 years, of course, we will be implementing the plan that we took to this election as a strong and united team.
The other issue, Senator Cormann, I wanted to ask you about is the whole debate about freezing the Medicare rebate. Now, what that effectively does, unless there is an equivalent of a GP co-payment, i.e. an increase beyond bulk billing, what that essentially does is that freezes the pay of GPs for a 6-year period. Will Liberal politicians agree to a pay freeze for 6 years to match what the GPs are facing?
Well, you're not quite right in saying that. I mean, obviously, if we were to stop the pause in indexation from 1 July 2016, that would essentially mean a 56-cent additional payment per visit. But of course, the pay for these small businesses, which the GPs will tell you that they run small businesses. it is a combination of the rebate per service and the number of services. And of course, what we've seen actually happening is that obviously the number of services overall has gone up quite significantly. And bulk billing rates are at an all-time high. Bulk billing rates are higher now than they ever have been, than they were certainly.
Do you guarantee they'll stay there though over the rest of the freeze?
And what I would say to you is that GPs, as running a small business, will of course be the beneficiaries under the coalition of a company tax cut, which they would not be getting under the Labor Party. Any GP clinic that is in the $2 million to $10 million turnover range would get a company tax cut under the coalition, which they would not be getting under Labor. So there are, obviously always a range of elements that come into play. So there is no reason from where we sit for there to be a reduction in bulk billing rates as a result of the pause in indexation, which was started by Labor, and which, of course, we are continuing in order to pay for important additional investments in the health space. $2.9 billion in additional investment to our public hospitals, paid for by savings in other parts of the budget. More than $1 billion in additional investment into making access to very expensive pharmaceuticals for drug treatment and the like, cancer drug treatments and the like, affordable for people across Australia. So, I mean, you know, in the end, the reason we can pay for the promises we're making is because we've identified savings in other parts of the budget to pay for them. Labor is making unfunded spending promise after unfunded spending promise. They had to admit that they would increase the size of the deficit. They've had to admit that they would increase taxes by more than $100 billion over the next decade, which would be bad for the economy and bad for jobs. And that is after they've had to walk away from all these long-standing past promises that they've previously made, like restoring the school kids bonus and various other promises. So after all of that, they still would deliver bigger deficits, which would threaten our AAA credit rating and be bad for our economy.
And just a final question, as the leading senator for the coalition who worked with the crossbench, would you be frustrated if after this election, with the lower quota required for the double dissolution, that you still have a Senate crossbench that resembles, as one of my colleagues in the press gallery called it, the bar scene from Star Wars?
The result of this election in the Senate and in the House of Representatives is entirely a matter for the Australian people. The Australian people today decide who represents them in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. And after tonight, after the results have been declared, all of us who are in the Parliament have a responsibility to work to deliver the best possible outcomes for the Australian people, and that is certainly what the coalition will be doing.
All right, Mathias Cormann, Senator Mathias Cormann, formal spokesperson for the government. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks for your company.
Always good to talk to you.
We're going to talk to Ed Husick in a moment, Kieran Gilbert, but interesting discussion about where they're at now, isn't it? I mean, expectations management, he doesn't want to talk about the Senate and what might happen there.